Hi guys, just a quick talk through and review after we've had our Focus ST for about a month. People ask if we could give a bit of a review to see how we found it over the last 5 weeks or so. I purchased it the end of December 2012 as a daily driver. It replaces a 2005 Mazda MPS 6, or Mazda Speed 6 as it's called in the States, and we owned that one for 3.5 years. I was very fond of the Mazda 6, especially the way it delivered its power and torque, and the all-wheel drive system made it very sure-footed. One thing that a couple of things that I didn't really like about it, was a very weighty car. I wasn't overly keen on the steering. It was very heavy. The thing that I really disliked about it, and so did my wife, was the fact that it had a very strange clutch feel about it. It was more like an on-off switch. There wasn't any progression about it whatsoever. And coupled with the 6-speed manual transmission, it made it quite easy to stall an intersection, or certain places like that, which wasn't very confidence inspiring, especially for my wife. Both our kids now are old enough and own their own cars, so very rarely do we have people in the back of our car. So we wanted to go from 2 cars back to 1 car, and we needed and wanted the practicality of a hatchback. After quite a bit of research over many months, I narrowed the contenders down to 3. Golf GTI, Mazda 3 MPS, or as it's called in the States, the Mazda Speed 3, and as it was at the time, newly released 2012-13 Focus ST. My wife and I test drove all 3 of those cars on 2 occasions. The GTI only in the, as I initially preferred the Mazda, but my wife from day one liked the ST, the styling and the driving and overall feel of it. My main concern before we decided to purchase the ST was whether or not the front Recaro seats were going to be comfortable enough. Due to the wings that they have either side of them, they tend to feel fairly tight, and I wondered if they might be a bit uncomfortable to live with on a daily basis. However, I must say that having lived with them and got used to them after the last 5 weeks or so, I now find them incredibly supportive and comfortable. At the time that we decided to purchase this car, I was pleasantly surprised at the competitiveness of the ST's sticker price. It was actually the least expensive of the 3 hatches, the GTI, MPS 3 or Mazda Speed 3 and the ST, which was very surprising considering the remarkable high level of equipment that this car has. I understand in the US that there are 3 spec levels. However, in Australia we're only offered the 1 model. Our Oz model is probably most accurately described as being equipped somewhere between the US ST2 we don't get MyForward Touch, but we do have sync and reversing camera. We don't get the full leather Recaros. Ours are the Recaros with leather and body coloured cloth inserts, and we don't get the sunroof. Our Australian model also has pop-out washers located beneath the headlights, and I believe this is mandatory for all cars in Australia that have HIDs. Driving impressions of the ST over the last 5 weeks. I love its power delivery. I like the 6-speed gear ratios. I like the fact that that you can go from 0 to 100 just using your first and second gears. In the Mazda 6, the gearing on that was a bit shorter, and you had to have a second, third gear change before you hit 100 k's an hour. 62 miles an hour in the US speed. I love the ST's steering response. It's superb, but fairly severe brakes. They take a little bit of getting used to. It's got fantastic handling. It really reminds me of a go-kart to drive, the way it's pinpoint sharp. And I love the engine noise that the sound imposer sends through to the cabin when you give her a bit of I'm also a fan of the hill assist. I know that there's quite a few people that don't tend to like that, but my wife and I love the way that it feels so solid. The doors have got that solid clunky feel, just made in Germany kind of a feel. They don't feel I love the quality feel of the interior and the layout of the interior after you get used to it. Initially it can feel a little bit cramped, but once you get used to it, it now appears to be fine. I like the reversing camera, more the audio side of it, the audio warnings than the actual it's great, it's practical that the rear seats actually fold flat so that you can use that rear space for carrying capacity if need be. I like the Bluetooth connectivity and I like the streaming USB. The music, just load up a USB stick and you go from there and you control it all from your steering wheel or from the dislikes. Major dislikes of the car, fairly few, far between. Turning circle for a car this size, it does seem very big. You would expect it to turn a lot. Inside the car, the glove box, if you've got a front passenger in the car, the glove box is next to useless as far as access goes with a person sitting there. It's just too hard to get at. The size in the glove box itself is okay, it's fairly cavernous, but it's just the access is fairly ordinary. Pedals, the clutch, brake and accelerator, the faceplates seem a little bit small for my liking, but then again I suppose you get used to it. That's being a bit nitpicky. And probably the other minor dislike is the fact that it doesn't have too many interior storage pockets in the cabin. Besides that, overall very happy with the car, touch wood. Fuel economy at the moment is, it's fine considering the car is built for performance. If you drive it with economy in mind, it tends to be okay. I haven't actually got any figures, but it's better, I know, on fuel than what the 2.3 litre turbocharged Mazda 6 MPS was. So all up, guys, I hope that's been helpful. If you're thinking about perhaps buying one of these cars, comparing it with other cars in the category, also driving the car, the ST, although it's got the 18-inch wheels, it drives firmly but certainly not harshly. It's very comfortable in my opinion. I'm very keen on fitting an aftermarket tune on this car through the OBD2 port, and I know that there's a few on the market available now, mainly over in the US. I'm referring to the and the Unleashed Tuning SCT tuner. Unfortunately, at the time of making this video, neither of those are compatible with our Australian ST. I don't really know what it is, but apparently there's some type of compatibility issue that hopefully is going to be rectified. I believe that Superchips Bluefin may have one available that actually is compatible with our Australian STs at the moment. Having gone from the Mazda Speed 6 or the MPS 6, I initially thought that the ST felt a little bit underpowered compared to that car. However, over the last month of owning this car, I've put that feeling down to just a slightly different the way it delivers the power. The fact that these seats in the ST are so much more supportive than the flatter seats that were in the Mazda. And I just don't think the acceleration feels as harsh in this car as what it did in the Mazda. I certainly don't think now that it's any less powerful than what the Mazda was. But hey, you can't argue with that, can you? Another high point about this car, if you're not into it, if you're not sticking the boot into it and you're just driving it normally, conservatively, it's so smooth. Throttle, gearbox combination, clutch, steering, everything is just so smooth, and it's very torquey from down low. It pulls from low revs. It's quite amazing. And unless you're really sticking the boot in, it's very quiet inside. If you plant your foot, yeah, you get that roar come through the cabin, but a bit of a roar. But if you don't, it's very quiet, very sedate. That's another thing. Obviously, the ST being only front-wheel drive, there's talk of obviously torque, steer through your front wheels when you're trying to steer, when you put the power down. But honestly, yes, if you do give it a bootful in more so first and second gear than any others, you'll feel it twitching a bit in your hands, but I'll admit it's nothing compared to what the MPS 3 or Mazda Speed 3 is like. I took that for a test drive, wasn't expecting the violent torque steer that I experienced when I put the foot down in second gear, I think it was. It really pulled, twisted to the left. It gave me a bit of a fright, because my previous car, Mazda Speed or MPS 6, being all-wheel drive, there was no torque steer whatsoever. I really noticed it in the 3 though. But in this, you can feel it slightly, but to me, there's nothing violent about it whatsoever.